Yate from New Mexico. Welcome to my channel, New Mexico Outdoors with Mountaintop Bob. Wow, it's been a while. I think I put my last video out was in November, just before Thanksgiving, and forgive me for that. There's been a few reasons why it's taken me so long to get back on YouTube. Been over a month, or I didn't do anything in December. And here it is, January. So here's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I really can't start this video on a light note because Susie and I lost two wonderful, beautiful family members back in North Carolina. One just before Thanksgiving, and one just before Christmas. And was a mother and a daughter, and two separate incidences. Both of them were sad. One was cancer. The other one was, I think, mostly a broken heart from losing her mom. But whatever it was, that's started just before Thanksgiving and continued on in, and then happened again just before Christmas. So, but other than that, here in New Mexico, on a lighter note, Susie and I had a great holidays. We were home alone, just the two of us, and we like it that way. Solitude, peace and quiet. It was just beautiful here. And we had a great Thanksgiving, the two of us, and then we had a really nice Christmas. And so that brings me into what this video is about. So let me turn on the light so you can see me. All right. So for Christmas, I got this thing, this drone. And it specifically says, although I think it's backwards in the screen for some reason, right here, it says toy. Well, later in this video, we're going to talk about this toy. And it was an unexpected gift. And along with this, I was given another one by the same person. And it had been used, and it needs some repair work. And he's got all the parts. So for a new hobby, I get to learn how to fix drones and maybe learn how to fly them. So here we go. Get into this video. First I want to say, when I got the drone, I wanted to find out about the laws, because even though it says a toy on there, it is obviously not a toy. It can get you $1,000 fine, $180,000. I mean, the figures could possibly be astronomical. So when I was looking into that to see what I had to do not to incur one of those astronomical fines, $1,000 fine would wipe us out. So being the kind of person I am, and with my history, right here's a Coast Guard license that I got. Again, it's all backwards, but I got that, and had to test for that. Here's my ham license for, it's backwards too, but anyway, there it is, ham license for amateur radio. And I was actually able to take two tests at the same time, or one right after the other, but I scored high enough on the first one, like 100%, and then they let me just go right ahead and take the second one, and the second one brought me up to Operator Class General, Group C. So anyway, so both of these things here require studying a book, a big book, a whole bunch of volumes of it, and it's called the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations. So when it comes down to it, they're the guys that are, the Code of Federal Regulations regulates all this stuff. Well, as it turns out, another thing it regulates is National Park System and the Forestry Department and the Bureau of Land Management. This even has to do with Indian Affairs. If it's a federal regulation, it's in that book. And if it's a law, then that's a regulation. But I'm not a lawyer. No, a long ways from being a lawyer. I quit school in the 9th grade over a paddling. But come a long way since then. Won't get into all of that. So anyway, what I found out was I was looking to see where and how and what I had to do to be able to fly this drone. And I come across something about photography. I've seen some stuff on YouTube about it, but I don't really pay a lot of attention to everything I see. But I wanted to know. So in researching where and how and all the stuff about the drone, I found some stuff about, I guess somebody poked the bear and sued the National Park System over the First Amendment, right to film. It made it through the first court, and suddenly we could go film anywhere we wanted to under that lawsuit. But that was overturned by some more judges, and now it's went back to the original regulations on that. And the problem with that is, for me specifically, is where I live. So I'm going to do a little brief history on that. Let me fix my hair. There we go. Little brief history on that. We decided to retire this 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. Actually, it would have been closer to 5 years ago. We started working towards that end. And we liquidated our business in Florida. Worked ourselves out of work. That's all we got. We didn't sell it. We kept all the equipment, brought it with us. Then I sold a 9.5 acre piece of parcel, 9.5 acre parcel that I had. And then I sold my 5 acres in my home. And all our buildings, sold everything that we couldn't bring with us to New Mexico. And what we couldn't sell and we couldn't bring, we gave away. And we did give away a lot of stuff. And a lot of that stuff I miss, I really do. But we felt at the time it was worth it, and I still do. I don't think I made a mistake. I'm positive I didn't make a mistake. I'm just too happy here. So, but at the end of the day, I chose where I wanted to live based on an old hobby that I've had goes all the way back to the Browning camera. I was never very good at it. I never had the money or the time or the opportunity to really study it, to really know what I was doing. But I just know I like mashing that button and taking a picture. And moving on, I wore the Browning out, and I got a little video camera my dad gave me, and I didn't realize how sensitive to water it was. So videoing in a snowstorm with snowballs and other stuff kind of trashed that, but I got the video out of it, and my dad laughed it off, and so that was the end of that for a while. Then later on, I was still keeping one of those little pocket cameras you could just stick in your pocket, just for whatever. And then when I finally made it through the Air Force and got out of that, and went back to school for a year, and then went in the Navy. Got some more education. And while I was in the Navy, I got into photography again. And this time it was a 35 millimeter film camera, and I could change the lenses. I had a 200 millimeter zoom and a doubler, I think is what I called it back then. I think it's like a 1.4, 2 point something, whatever. But I had that and a 200 millimeter lens, and then I had a 50 millimeter lens, and I think I had a fisheye or something. I had 3 lenses, I remember. I think we called that a fisheye. Developed my own film. Shot a lot of black and white because film was expensive and I like to mash that button a lot. Luckily, that camera, you didn't mash the button. It didn't go clickety, clickety, clickety. It just went click one time. So, moving on, I wore it out. I got in shape, hiked around Mount Rainier, was able to photograph that. There was no video involved back in them days. Still got pictures around here of that. A motorcycle trip across the country, got pictures from that. That motorcycle trip, I found out, was hard on the camera. By the time we got back to Florida, that camera was wore out. All right, so that gets me to my photography thing here. So we retired from Florida, moved out to New Mexico. I had cash, so I could pick out a place where I wanted to be. We researched the Cibola National Forest. I really liked the Navajo traditions and culture. I had been through here once before in the 70s. I was actually able to photograph the monument at Four Corners, and no one was there. This was 1979. No one was there. It was totally empty. And so we pitched a tent and stayed there that night. Didn't have to ask nobody. There's no thought about it. Just did it, Had cooked. There was a fire pit there already, so we built a fire and we cooked some hot dogs and a couple hamburgers, and we went and had a picnic lunch. And I think my wife was sitting in Utah, and I think I was in Colorado, maybe, or maybe I was in New Mexico, and she was in Arizona. I don't remember, but we had a picnic lunch across state lines that day. At one point, we was spraddled out in 4 states at once, so we had a big time doing that. But again, there was nothing there. It was nothing like it is today. I've been there one time since then, and you got to pay to get up on that thing, and you get so many minutes to take a quick picture, and then you got it. That's it, right? So it's really commercialized. But it's still a beautiful place to go. It's right out in the middle of nothing. And around that is a lot of beautiful, beautiful real estate that's just amazing. So that's what I came here for, so I could get back into photography for real. I acquired a Canon 77D, which is top of the line amateur. And I got a Sigma 150 to 600 zoom, top of the line amateur. And then I got a couple of Canon lenses that are also top of the line amateur. Nothing that I have would be considered professional equipment. Nothing I have cost over, I think I spent $600 for the camera and $600 for the lens, and then the other 2 lenses were incidental. So I don't have professional equipment. I'm not a professional photographer. I don't want to be a professional photographer. I like to work with my hands. I still have a side hustle that allows me to go back in my little shop on the other side of the house, and I make stuff for other people's houses. Coming up, we're going to be making, or I should say Susie helps me some, but she's basically disabled and just can't really do a whole lot. So I try to carry the load. And but it looks like we're going to get to do some stuff for the New Mexico government already. So we were famous in Florida. We had draperies hanging there. We got draperies hanging in California. And it looks like we're going to get to be famous making drapes here again in New Mexico, as long as I feel up to doing it. At the moment, we just work for one person. We don't work for the public. So this is not an advertisement. We've got all we want to do, and we do all we want to do. So there you have it. But anyway, that leaves me with a lot of time. And that time I was invested in photography and videography, and then I learned about YouTube. I've spent 2 whole years. This will be the first video of the 3rd year. And I spent 2 whole years getting my act together, so I felt confident that I could do a good job if I went someplace like the Bistyle, which is let me get the words right, a wilderness area. Now, as per 2023, I mean, I'm looking on YouTube and there's all kinds of people going in there and videoing and flying drones over it and all kinds of stuff. Nobody's saying a word. But now, suddenly, you can, I guess, fly the drone from the parking lot if you have a commercial drone license. I don't think you could do that recreational because you couldn't use the film or footage for a commercial purpose. Okay, so that's the FAA. Them guys, you know where you stand with them. If I'm going to use any footage from a drone, I have to have a Part 107, which comes under the CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. You know where you stand with them. So let's get into the real quick, because I'm going to try to keep this down to 30 minutes, this video. Let's get into the photography thing. So in the meantime, I was checking the laws to be able, because up above me here is Cibola National Forest. It doesn't say state park, so I didn't or federal park, so I didn't think it was a national park, right? Don't say park, it says Cibola National Forest. So I contacted them and talked to a couple of people, and the only word I got was if I was going to video anything up there, I had to have a permit. Period. Flat. No ifs, ands, or buts. However, I can't get the permit in Grants, where the office is. So I called Albuquerque, the number they gave me, and the first response to the first person I talked to there was, you have to take that up in Grants at the office in Grants. Anyway, so I said, well, they told me I had to get my permit from the supervisor here, and he said, okay, well, I'll put you online with the supervisor. And then that guy wasn't available, and I left a message and never heard nothing back. So there you have it. It's not that easy even to find out the information. Another thing I found out, looking at, you can pull up the BizStar website. They got a website. You can pull it up. There's nothing on the pages. You have to dig to find anything that says that you're restricted in your photography or videography in the BizStar. You pull up Cibola National Forest website. You have to dig to find anywhere, anything that says that you can't film or video in a national forest for, there's, or any of the rules, or there's some guidelines. Yes, you can go up there and you can take snapshots, you can drive through, take pictures of your family and all that, take it home, have a print made, hanging on the wall, no problem. But if you put it on YouTube, then that's what this is about. My stuff goes on YouTube. If I'm going to be out there, I want to share it. I'm proud of what I do. I'm not that good at it, but I'm still proud of it. And I have a lot of friends and family back home that wants to see where I've moved to. And then I didn't think that I didn't even know what monetization was when I started this. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing about YouTube. I didn't know nothing about digital cameras. I didn't even know that there was a place to shoot video on a digital camera until I started digging into it, because I said, well, I want a camera, right? So I found, the more I learned, the more I really want a camera now. And I got it here set on the desk. Looked like I had more buttons and knobs on it than a space shuttle. And I said, maybe I ought to just send this thing back. But I didn't. I hung in there, and I got pretty good, I think, in some areas. And I've learned some stuff that I wanted to put into practice at Chaco Canyon. That little strap around the neck where you can just kind of work your camera in there nice and slow. And I've learned how to slow film down so any jitter and shake. I've learned how to edit. I put a lot of effort into this, and now I can't go to Chaco Canyon. That'd burn it. And it's one of the greatest places probably on the whole continent for shooting astrophotography, looking at night sky. There's no light nowhere around there. It's a wilderness area, right? All around it. Chaco Canyon, back in there. And all these places are like less than 100 miles from my house. Chaco Canyon, 60 miles. And I was waiting. I said, we're going to live up there after we get this together, because they just got so much. There's no way you could go in there and possibly film it all or shoot it all in a day. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about carrying a backpack on my back, a piece of crap tripod that don't weigh nothing stuck in the backpack, and 3 lenses and a camera. Never have to set it down. I mean, if I needed to, I could go over to a picnic table, change the lenses. That'd be and then put the backpack back on and continue on, not bothering anybody. And so, but can't do that. And now I can't go up in the Cibola National Forest, which is right here, and there's some beautiful mule deer up there. You'll see some. I got video from up there, but my channel's not monetized at the moment. There's, according to the Code of Federal Regulations, I'm good to go. But the minute it gets monetized, I may have to delete some videos off my channel. I'll see. I got to find out what the statute of limitations are. I got to find out what videos I shot during the time period when it was legal. I got to find out. See, because before the guy poked the bear and did the lawsuit, there was a clause in the Federal Code of Regulations about 1 man and a camera, 1 backpack, 1 tripod, and as long as that's all you had, nobody cared. But they go messing with them, and now look, we got a whole new thing. So this is ongoing. It's going to keep going, and it's not going to be over yet. All right, so that's what's going on with that. I gotta find. Now the other thing is, where I live, my house, I can see the reservation from my house, basically. If the Navajo friends, my Navajo friends come down and say, "Who owns this?" He says, "It's Navajo." If I see somebody crossing the valley and I ask them, they say it's state land. If I see Mr. Yazzie, who's a rancher that has permits and leases and runs cattle, and there's some other ranchers that run horses down there, and if I ask them guys, say, "Oh, you're good to go. It's state land. We lease it from them." However, my neighbor on the other side says the BLM, the National Forest, and then the Navajo Reservation as well. All these have laws that restrict photography and videography. So, and they're all within walking distance of my yard. How do I know where I'm at and what I'm on? So now I have to find maps, and I have to distinguish in this blocked up, cut up area that I live in. That's divided between all these different people. And the one thing I know, I can fly my drone when I get the 107 out of my yard, as long as I keep it in sight. I can go all over that out there, and there ain't a thing anybody can say about it. All right, so let's get to the drones. I want to spend a little bit of time on that. Because I took these tests over here, and I've worked, on taking many tests that's been given by or overseen by the federal government, or been given by the federal government. I'm pretty familiar how it all works, and so I found out that the Part 107 is a 100-question test. Piece of cake. I've already done aviation ground school twice, but I never could afford to actually go take the test, and I never could. And what stopped me was I could go take the test. I could afford that part, but instructor pilots were expensive, and I never could put it all together. So I just kept blowing it off. But I've already been through ground school twice, and I think that it's going to come back pretty quick. I don't think I'm going to have a problem passing a 100-question drone test. You only got to get like 70%. I think I don't know, whatever. What is that, like 60 out of 100 or something? But so I'm not worried about being able to pass that, but I am worried about having the dexterity and the vision to be able to physically fly this drone. So between now and September, when the new remote ID laws come into effect, I want to perfect my abilities, see how good I am, see what I can learn, if I can build some kind of muscle memory, whatever it takes. And if I can learn to fly them, these cheap ones that I got, the free one and this little one here, I got till September, and in September you have to go the extra mile and add a, I would call it a transponder, but they call it something else. It's called I just said the words, remote ID. So, and to do that, it would be cheaper to buy a drone that'll be available at that time with remote ID already on it. There's a lot of them out there. Some of them's even already got a fence system built into them. So if you're not allowed to fly there that day, or something to that effect, it won't fly. If you're near an airport where you're not supposed to fly, it just won't fly. So I'm checking into that and see what that's all about. And some of the guys are complaining, some like it. You know how things are. So to be able to continue with my channel, to be able to keep putting videos out, and I really love the wildlife, I'll have to do my research and find out where I can go. I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed, I'll make the phone call today and I'll get back with you, but I think Blue Water Lake is a state park, in fact, and it's not covered by the federal government. And if that's the case, I can find no laws, nothing written, nothing nowhere that says I can't go down there and pay my fee and go there and use that park as a place to do photography and videography. And man, they got ducks down there like you wouldn't believe. I got great footage this year of the white pelicans. There's always something down there. And then there's a little area on the other side of it. If it's not if it's not part of the forestry service or BLM or some other whatever, that you can get up on a little hill there and you got the whole lake. You can get a nice shots of that. It's just a beautiful area down there. I never get enough of going down there. So checking on that, hopefully I'll have that. And if that's the case, there's other state parks in the area that I'll be able to go to and continue with my channel and outdoor photography and New Mexico outdoors. Because that's what I came here for, was outdoors. I just want to be able to film it, photograph it, share it with friends and family, and who knows, maybe get monetized at some point. And since I brought that up, I'm at 491 subscribers, almost halfway there. And according to the Federal Code of Regulations and monetization and all the stuff, whereas with drones it's intent, the National Park Service and the Federal Code of Federal Regulations is what you do with after the fact. So like whatever I video up there, well, frankly, you can't video up there. It's against the law to video up there without a permit, period. So somebody could see you with your camera. However, they wouldn't know if you're videoing or photographing. It's the same camera. However, if you put it on YouTube and then it comes back and you start getting a lot of viewers and a lot of subscribers and a lot of this and that, you know, eventually it'll get out. And so I'm just one of them kind of guys that's never been behind bars, never been in jail, never been arrested, never been in handcuffs. Worked real hard to keep that from happening in my life, and will continue to do so. All right, so looks like I got like 2 more minutes. I want to use that time to say real quick, if you're out there in the outdoors, photography, videography, if you're outdoors with a drone, if you're just outdoors, be careful. There's laws about everything. And a case in point, my Coast Guard license was at one point threatened. And I have been before a federal judge. They couldn't arrest me and put me in jail, but they could have taken my license. So I know what that's like too. So guys, be careful. Know what you're doing. It's the federal judge. They don't smile. They ain't fun at all. There's no humor there. All right. So short. Learn about the Code of Federal Regulations. That covers everything, no matter what they say. Learn about your laws before you go and do, and be careful. In the meantime, this is Mountaintop Bob signing off. Hope everybody enjoys this little video and this little rant, and know that I'm staying on the air. I want to stay on YouTube. I'm not sure how or what I'll be doing, but it will be legal. See ya.